Tomorrow is the NFL Divisional round, so I wanted to put my wizardry to use my future sight to try to predict and talk about what's going to happen. So the first matchup is the Texans and the Ravens. I'm rooting for the Texans to go all the way to the bowl, baby. I want to see CJ Stroud absolutely down the Ravens' throat. I don't know if that was the first 15 seconds or not. You're not supposed to cuss within then. I might have to bleep that. But I want him to shit down the Ravens' throat. That one doesn't have to be bleeped. Lamar Jackson might be the GOAT this year. He's pretty much all but secured that MVP title. But then again, he's not quarterbacky enough. So that might be his downfall. That might be what takes him and the Ravens out of the playoffs. And then on the other side of the coin with the Texans, you got CJ Stroud, who has to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. If he doesn't, that proves it's rigged and the NFL is scripted. The scriptwriters have honestly had a pretty hot pen this year. They've been rotting with some fire, except for when they decided to write Joe Burrow coming into the season with a calf injury and then exiting the season shortly after getting healthy with another injury on his wrist. Like, come on now. Like, you're kicking him while he's already down. The Bengals are already terrible enough. We have a history of being god-awful, and you can't just let us be decent for a couple of years in a row. You have to ruin our season. But get back to this matchup here. I'm sorry, I'm ranting, I'm rambling. I'm a crazy Bengals fan. The Texans have CJ Stroud, amazing rookie year. Might just be one of the best rookie years that the Texans have ever seen out of a quarterback. And he's also not a rapist, so that's something. That's another plus. He might just be their franchise guy. They might have actually found the one. And then on top of that, they had Tank Dell until they decided to give him a season-ending injury. I really like that guy. He carried me in fantasy a couple weeks. But they also have Nico Collins, which is obviously he's going to be their wide receiver number one. And then next year when Tank Dell gets healthy, they'll definitely have a better season. They'll be far more explosive with him and Nico Collins and CJ Stroud next year. Even if they do lose this game to the Ravens, which I'm rooting for them, I'm going to pick them to win. Next year is not even just next year, like the next 5 to 10 years is looking very, very bright for the Texans. So Texans are going to win this. Everyone's saying the Ravens are the best team in football, and that is true, but I think the Texans are going to get the upset, and they're going to take home that dub. They shit down the Browns' throat. They took the Browns to the bowl, but not the Super Bowl, the toilet bowl, and they flushed them down. Took them out to the sewers where they're going to lay with all the rest of the shitty teams. And of course, Vegas has this game, the spread at -9.5 for Baltimore. But I think there's going to be a big upset here. And I think it's going to go over. I think the under is not going to hit. It's going to be over 43.5. I think this is going to be a gunslinging game. They both got high-octane offenses. And they both have very solid defenses. So I think this is going to be a good one. And now that takes us to the Green Bay Packers and San Francisco 49ers matchup. That is the game that's going to cap off tomorrow's night of Saturday night playoff football divisional round, baby. And obviously the Packers are coming off of a stomping of their own, much like the Texans. But in this case, I think they absolutely just shattered the Cowboys' ego. They thought they were the best thing since sliced bread. They were playing at home, and they're like, oh yeah, we don't lose at home. And then the Packers walked in there like they were the Mongolians breaking through the Great Wall of China, and they just busted through there and did anything they pleased. Jordan Love, Aaron Jones absolutely made Dak Prescott and the rest of the Cowboys team their bitch. And the final score being 48-32 is very misleading. The game was not that close. It was over pretty much since it started. Like the Packers were just dominant. They absolutely made the Cowboys submissive and breedable and just did anything they wanted to them. If they wanted to run the ball down their throat with Aaron Jones, by God, he did it. He had 21 carries for 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Jordan Love also threw for 3 touchdowns. And Romeo Doubs even had 6 receptions for 151 yards and 1 touchdown. So they couldn't stop the run game. They couldn't stop their receiving game. And the Cowboys are supposed to have one of the better defenses in the league. The Packers are just that hot right now. So I'm honestly gonna take the Packers in this one as well. Like, I like the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey is a god. He's literally like a demigod at the very least. Like, the dude isn't human. He has to be taking that super soldier serum or something. And then also Brock Purdy, he's good. You know, he's dominant as well. He's doing good this season. Then they got George Kittle, Fred Warner on defense. The offense and the defense on the 49ers is stacked. Name-wise and single individual player skill-wise, the 49ers probably have the most skilled team in the league, in my opinion. But I think the Packers are just too hot right now, and the 49ers aren't going to be able to touch them without getting burnt. And then for the Cheeseheads versus the, I don't know, the Niners don't really have a nickname that I can call them that's goofy, the Christian McCaffreys, they are favored 9.5 as well, same as the Ravens and Texans game, but I think this one also could be a major upset. It could swing around. I do think this is going to be under the, it's not going to hit the over, because 50.5 does seem very high, but then once again, these two offenses are very loaded. They both pretty much have tactical nukes on each side. Now that takes us to our Sunday games of the divisional rounds. In my opinion, the less exciting games, but they're still exciting because it's divisional playoff football. All the games are going to be impactful. You got the Lions versus the Buccaneers. The Lions, in my opinion, I think they're going to sweep the Buccaneers. Like, sure, the Buccaneers did beat the Eagles, but come on now. Like, they beat them pretty bad. They beat them 32-9, but come on now. Come on. The Eagles kind of just got hit with the mind erasinator. They forgot how to play football. They went to the Super Bowl and said, oh, you know what? Let's just forget how to play this game. I don't really know what happened with them. They were 11-7 on the season, but they shouldn't have been. They sucked. They were terrible. They weren't even a shell of their former glory. They were a different team. They might as well have not even been called the Philadelphia Eagles and just called them the, I don't know, the Suckington Suckers, because they just, they suck. And it was actually in this game that the tush push finally got stopped as well. The Buccaneers did stop the tush push, so maybe I'm not giving them enough credit, because they were pushing that tush pretty hard. It was a very successful play, very boring play, but nonetheless it was successful, and the Buccaneers finally were the ones to also put a stop to that. They just stood there like a brick wall and said, "You shall not pass." So maybe I'm underestimating the Buccaneers. Maybe Baker Mayfield really is just him, and Rashad White is him, and Cade Otton is him. But I don't think so. I think the Eagles just genuinely suck, and the Lions are going to put the Buccaneers in their place, which is out of the playoffs, because the Lions are just too good, man. Jared Goff solid, but really the Lions shine when it comes to everyone else on the offense. And they even got an amazing defense with Aiden Hutchinson and all them. But David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, they're both insane. They're just really good backs to have. And then also their receivers are very solid. They got Laporta at tight end. They got Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is obviously, he's one of the best receivers in the league this year. And then they also got Josh Reynolds and then Jamison Williams. They're stacked on the offense. And like I said, defense is very good as well, with people like Aiden Hutchinson. And then also CJ Gardner-Johnson's on there too. That guy's a dog. And I think last week when they beat the Rams really cemented them as a serious contender to take it all the way to the bowl, because they beat the Rams. And the Rams are a very good team. They're one of the better teams in the league, in my opinion. I think this game right here proves that the Lions are a force to be reckoned with. And I don't think the Buccaneers are ready for this. I don't think they're built for it. And then for this game, Vegas has the Lions favored and the spread at -6, the over-under at 49.5. And I think the Lions are going to cover the spread. Honestly, I think they might win by 2 touchdowns, by 2 possessions. That's my guess for that one. And now the final matchup of the divisional rounds that's going to cap off everything is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills, which, in my opinion, both of these teams have been having not as good of seasons as they did last year, but the Buffalo Bills are picking it back up. They're having glimpses of stardom once again, but that just comes with the territory of Josh Allen. I seen a meme that said Josh Allen either plays like the best quarterback to ever live or someone who is mentally handicapped, and it's just true. You know, it's not even being mean. It's just true. Some games, the dude acts like he doesn't know where he is. And then other games, he acts like he's the most locked-in dude since John Lockton. And as for the Kansas City Chiefs, they also have a very similar story to the Eagles this season, in the sense that they kind of fell off the horse. They sort of forgot how to play football. And, you know, people are blaming it on the wide receivers. They don't have any receivers for Patrick Mahomes to throw to, which is very true. The receivers don't have hands. They might as well just get them amputated, and the results would be the same, because so many drop passes have happened this year on the Chiefs. It's insane. But still, Patrick Mahomes hasn't been as good as he usually is this year. So it's partially to blame on him as well. He's not completely innocent here. He's sort of sucked. He's thrown some interceptions and some very questionable balls that former Patrick Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, just wouldn't have ever done. So a lot of questionable decisions from both of these teams this year. But I think Buffalo's going to take this. And Vegas also has Buffalo favored, but the spread's only 2.5, so they're saying this is going to be a close game. The over-under is 45.5. I think it's going to be over. I think this could be a high-scoring game, but at the same time, it could be a very low-scoring game. It all depends on if Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes decide to play like they're brain dead or not. But even if they're both playing at their peak potential, Mahomes and Josh Allen, or even just both teams, I think the Bills do have overall the better team. Stephon Diggs has kind of had a terrible season also, but I think the Bills are better and they should win this game, and that's what I'm saying. They're going to win. So my final predictions for these games, the Texans are going to take it. I'm switching it back around. I think the Packers are amazing and they have a very bright future, much like the Texans. Over the next couple of years, they're going to be absolutely insane powerhouses. But I think the Texans are going to win, the Niners are going to win, the Lions are going to win, and then the Bills are going to win. And that's my picks. I know I don't usually make NFL videos, but hey, this is my channel and I can upload me goat-seeing myself if I want to. I'd get banned, but I could. So maybe you enjoyed this. I enjoyed talking about it. I'm a nerd when it comes to football. And other than that, I will catch you in the next one.